I would apologize for the harsh lighting today, but I don't think I ever have great lighting really, so I'm not sure that that would make a big difference. Okay, the conversation I want to have today is one that all writers deal with, honestly. If you've been writing for any point in time and you claim you don't deal with this, I think you're lying to maybe me and yourself possibly, because that is writer's block. And especially if you're writing to where you're trying to work within time frames like deadlines, or if it's your job or side hustle, and again, like you've got some pressure with this writing, you definitely deal with writer's block. And while it's a universal problem for all of us, I think one of the bigger issues is some of the advice on how to get around it. So as a writer, I deal with writer's block all the time. I am in particular the type of person that is wonderful at self-sabotaging myself, especially if I try to set personal deadlines. I find that the moment I set it, basically my brain will do everything in its power to ensure that I don't reach that deadline. That is something I need to work on, honestly, very genuinely, but it's something I've noticed. And so writer's block is something that occurs pretty regularly for me, and because of that, I have found a few ways that help myself and my little chaotic brain to get over it and continue writing. I used to have fairly large bouts of time where I would struggle with writer's block, up to weeks, and even I think a couple times even a few months, and I don't really deal with that anymore. I definitely will get shorter sessions of it, but I'm able to generally get out of writer's block pretty quickly now, and or push on through writer's block. And so based off of how long have I been writing now? Oh my goodness, it's been over 10 years now since I've been writing, just in general on any platform. So yeah, like 10 plus years of writing, and here are some of my tips for getting out of writer's block. So I think one of the things I struggled with the most is when I was listening to other writers on how to get through writer's block, how to deal with it, how to find your inspiration again. I heard lots of advice for things like make a Spotify playlist for your book, or make Pinterest boards with pictures that inspire your book. And I do like these things. I don't think they're a bad option. I don't think that they're bad advice. But I think a lot of us, it's very easy to fall into the trap of doing that instead of the writing, because it's a lot more fun to think about your story and the vibes of your story and while you're putting it together a playlist or finding pictures that you think go along with it. That's the fun work of planning a book. And so while I do think that's okay to do, especially when you're in the early stages of planning, I don't think that it's necessarily helpful to keep your inspiration, especially if you're in the thick of it and you're getting to the tough parts of your story that you are struggling to figure out and you're just slogging through. I don't think the answer is a playlist, generally speaking. So when I started looking at myself and my writer's block and how often it was happening, and really genuinely trying to find ways to push myself through it, because I want this to be a form of work for me, right? At this point in time, I don't make money really off of it, and I want to. And so with that, I have to take the writing seriously. When I'm at my job, when I just don't feel like working that day, I can't. That's not an option, right? I can't just be like, I'm not really feeling this right now, so I'm just gonna skip these tasks. I just don't want to do them. That's not how it works, and so that's the mindset I've been trying to bring to writing the last few years, is this is something I want to be my job. Therefore, I have to stick with my schedule. I have to make the time and the effort, even when I might not totally be feeling it. So instead of doing playlists or Pinterest boards or things like that, things I have done is go take a look at the outline I made. Now, if you've watched any of my past videos, you know that I am a self-proclaimed pantser. I tend to just dive into the story. I tend to discover it as I write it, but I have been trying to outline lately. And even though I know that I don't stick with a super structured outline or a really detailed one, having some type of outline helps me when I get in those moments where I'm stuck. I can look at the idea of, okay, this is where I initially started, and here's where I said I wanted to go. Is that still the case? Based off of what I have been writing, is this still the outcome? Or do I need to replan a little bit? Do I need to take a look at some things? Is the story straying too far to where I can't figure out a good ending or the answer to these questions here? And so even if you aren't a big outliner, I would say if you're getting stuck, if you're hitting a point where you're unsure of where to go, maybe do a brief outline. And brief can even be just a few bullet points. You can even just have a few bullet points of huge plot points in your story or character arcs that you need to get through to help you figure out, okay, here is what I've already done. Here's where I'm getting stuck. Ooh, is there something I need to go back and rework a little bit to make it work over here and to make it work in the future? And so yes, outlining can be hugely helpful even if you are not a big outliner. Don't feel trapped by it. Use it to inspire you, to help push you forward. The other thing that I do is hugely advised against. In fact, almost every writer on WriterTube, AuthorTube that I have watched tells me not to do this. And I understand why. I think it is valid advice, similar to most writing rules, where the rule exists for a reason, and you need to know the rule so that you can break it strategically. And that's how I feel about this next one, is it is a valid rule that I choose to break because I understand why it exists, and I know why it does not apply to me. And that would be to read or to avoid reading what you have already written. And when I say this, I also mean editing as you go. So almost everyone will advise, especially when you're writing a first draft, don't go back, don't read what you already wrote, don't worry about editing what you already wrote, leave it, because that way you can just not worry about perfecting it and you want to just push through and get the story out. And I totally understand that. If you're the type of person who's going to obsess over making this one chapter perfect, on making sure this sentence is structured beautifully and perfect when the whole story isn't even written yet, this may not be advice for you. But I often, especially when I'm working on a big project, forget things that I've been writing. I forget certain characters that I put in there. And so for me, reading what I already wrote whenever I get stuck, going back a few chapters, reading through, editing it a little bit, not only helps remind me of certain things that I maybe was not good about keeping notes of in my outline or my story Bible, but it also keeps me inspired. It gets me really excited to be in the story again. There are parts where I can see what I was trying to do, or parts that I really like, that I thought were written really well, and it helps keep me in the story, in the characters, and inspired by them. And so I would suggest, if you're at a point where you're stuck, you don't really know what's going on with your characters, you aren't sure where to go or how to solve something, go back to a chapter written from that character's point of view. Go back to where that problem first started in your story and read what you already have. It's okay if you edit a little bit with it. Don't get stuck with reading the whole thing, right? Just read those parts that are going to get you back in that moment, get you back with that character, get you back in that problem. And that way your brain is thinking about these things, you've connected with them again, and then you can get excited and hopefully get ideas to finish pushing through this part where you're stuck. Also, like a lot of things, it's okay to take a break. So a lot of times I think we try to just push through when the answer is rest. Hard work is a good thing, right? Hard work is good, dedication is good, but also if you are overwhelmed, if there's a lot of things going on with your life right now, if your creative wells have dried up because they have been just overused and neglected, it is okay to step away for a day, step away for a week. The main important thing, I think, is to make sure that you don't step away permanently, right? You don't want to step away for so long that you lose all excitement for your story. But it's okay to say, you know what, I think this week is not a writing week. I think this week is a reading week. I think this week is a go on some walk weeks. I think this is rest and take a nap instead of writing. Things to refill you that then will make it easier when you come back to enjoy that story again and to dive back into it. Tip number 4 is one that I struggle with a little bit, and I'm constantly evaluating this in myself. And it actually changes for me based off of what book or what story it is that I'm writing, and that is to evaluate your motivations. So again, this changes every single story for me, and so that's why this might be a difficult one. But maybe it's not. Maybe you know easily for you what it is. But when I say evaluate your motivations, I mean what keeps you going with this story when it's tough? Is it the story itself? Is it one that's dear and close to your heart and you are so excited to tell the world and to put it out there? If so, thinking about the story itself might keep you writing it. But if it's maybe not that deep, right? It is one you love, but again, this might be a side hustle for you. This might be your job, or you are trying to make it that. And so sometimes there might be books you're writing that aren't necessarily the ones super dear and close to your heart. It's just a good story. It's just one you would enjoy. But that's kind of hard to keep motivated when it's tough. And so finding other little things. For me, I am very food motivated, so I make up a little goal sheet. I think I've shown them in another video. I'll see if I can find them and link it below. But I'm very food motivated, and so I make up goal posts basically for word counts or chapters finished, and I promise myself certain sweet little treats when I reach that spot. And so things like that, even though that sounds silly, right? I'm literally carrot and the stick situation here. I'm literally carroting myself into writing through the stuff that I like writing, but maybe when I'm having a tough day, wouldn't usually sit down to write. But if I want that special like little treat, if I want that crumble cookie or something, then I'm gonna write this. I'm gonna finish writing this so I can get that crumble cookie. So silly little things like that. I know it's ridiculous, but finding out what motivates you, what will make it more exciting, even if you're just the type of person that just checking it off your to-do list, if just having it as a to-do list and checking it off or putting that sticker on gives you those happy feelings that makes you want to do it, go for it. Just figure out what it is that gives you that feeling that will help you push through any of the slog or feelings that you get when you don't want to sit down to write. Alright, the next one is one that I use a lot of the time for first drafts specifically again. I've used it some in my second draft, but generally speaking, this is a first draft thing when you are just trying to get the story out, right? You just need to flush it out. It's okay. Doesn't need to be perfect. We don't need to have everything figured out. We just need to get words on the page so that way we can figure out how to fix them later. And that would be skip it. If you have a part that you're agonizing over, you cannot figure out how to do it, you don't know what the characters are thinking, you don't know what to do next, skip it. Skip that chapter, skip that scene. I always do it by leaving little like brackets in the story. That way it's easy for me to control F and search them later. And I just leave like a little note inside the brackets of what it is that I was trying to do here. For example, I have one spot in my second draft in one of the chapters I was having to write that I don't know exactly what this character is going to say, but it's a tense moment, and she needs to motivate a group of people. And I don't know exactly what needs to be said to motivate this group. So instead of figuring it out right then and there in the writing session, I just put in brackets and said, insert inspirational speech here, close bracket, and I moved on. And so that's an example of where I'll loop back to it, right? Before the book is published, before I send it off to somebody, I'm going to loop back and write the inspirational thing. I just need to think about the inspirational speech before I write it, and I wanted to finish getting my word count for the day and not agonize over this speech that I didn't know what was going to happen. So, that's an example as well. If you don't know, come back to it later. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to figure out everything right now in chronological order. And then last but not least, again, this this type of advice really only works if if writing is more than just a hobby for you, and or you're trying to make it more than just a hobby. If it's something that you genuinely just like doing in your free time and you want to just enjoy it, you can skip this one. Just worry about the other ones. But if writing is something that you are trying to make your livelihood, if you're trying to make it an integral part of you, then sometimes there's going to be days where you have to just suck it up. Just like your job. You have to suck it up and you have to just do it. So whether that is using some of these other tips and, pushing through, or whether it's just writing some really bad stuff that you can come back and edit later, some days you have to just suck it up and push through and write the dang book, even when you don't feel like writing it, even when you feel uninspired, even when you have no clue what's happening. And you know what? Again, the worst thing that happens is you have some stuff you have to come back and edit later that maybe wasn't so good. And who knows, maybe it will turn out good, or maybe it just inspires you enough to get you back into the story to where you need to be. Also, even if you get bad stuff written, I always kind of love that, because I've started this thing for my books with my YA pen name, where if I have sections that I end up deleting because they don't fit well with the story or they don't work, I actually save those deleted sections and I make that as part of a newsletter giveaway thing. So when somebody joins my letter, they get access to all my deleted chapters from those books. So it's a little behind the scenes kind of the characters or what could have happened in the book, just like you'd have in like movies. And people seem to enjoy that right now. So even if you have sucky parts, it's okay, because you can always mess with it later. Okay, well, I think that's it that I have for today on writing blocks, because I decided to film this instead of writing, so I need to practice what I preach, and I need to go actually write for a little bit. But thank you for hanging out with me and for delaying my own writing so that I could hang out with you today. Hopefully your writing is going well as well. Let me know in the comments below any other tips or tricks you have for helping with your writer's block. That way we can all kind of help each other out and hopefully finish our projects here. And as always, thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in with me, my name's Karina. I'm a self-published writer, author, and I tend to make videos specifically talking to chaotic creatives and ones where we struggle to be aesthetic and organized. So if that sounds like you, definitely subscribe and join in for more videos. Have a great day. Bye.